Hello, KLV Podcast listeners. Welcome back to HQ, where the team of KLV Weddings shares their thoughts on business, marketing, and more. I am your showrunner, Bryan. Let's get into it.
We're back.
I'm back.
Can't
It's been a while.
anymore.
It's been a while. You want to tell the people what you've been up to?
So, I forget when I stopped. Was it last year?
It's about a little over a month ago.
Last year,
I think
dang.
it stopped last year because we were winding down.
Yeah.
And I think one of our friends, he's no longer working with us. So in the meantime, we were training you to take his place, basically, in second shooting. So I think my mindset was like, the moment that 2020 starts, it's all hustle time for 2 months, and that's what I was doing in the back end, was preparing.
Right.
Try and just make sure you're squared away for your first wedding. With us.
Which is Saturday.
Yeah,
by
with
the way.
us.
Which is
Yeah,
this
this
weekend.
Saturday.
And he's ready.
Oh, yeah.
And you're ready.
Yeah.
We're
it's
so
almost-
proud of you.
it's
We're
almost-
very proud of you. I'm
It's
very
almost
proud
like
of you.
Thank you.
It's like a fight match almost, you know?
Yeah.
Like you've
It
been
feels
prepping for so long, and you're McGregor, and you're ready to kick ass
Just
on
whoever-
Saturday.
Yeah, I'm not trying to get knocked out in the first
No, you
round.
give the 28-second knockout. Details done in 28
Yeah.
seconds.
Yeah.
Knocked out.
Yeah, I'll do the knocking out for sure. Yeah, so you've been busy behind the scenes, getting
Behind the
things prepared,
scenes. Yeah.
making sure we're all caught up on everything.
Also making sure that, Megan and I have been coordinating, making sure the team's in check, everyone's leveling up this year. So we're taking it, for those that have been shooting with us for the past year or the past 2 years or even more, we're just making sure everyone's mindset is taken to another level. Also upgrading gears, always maintaining our gears before the wedding season actually starts. So this year is all about growth, and last year was also all about growth. So this year is also seeing the results from last year. At the same time, we're leveling up, making sure everyone's in their own place and they feel comfortable within their own space. And with that, knowing that they're comfortable, we're comfortable. Yeah. And then once, comfortability will actually always kind of eat at us as things progress. We always have to grow again. So that growing pain will come into play hopefully by mid-year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it'll be easier this time.
But it will be easier
To
Hopefully.
move forward. you
to
know.
move
Yeah.
forward.
Yeah.
Versus it being like, why?
Yeah, I agree. And I've been hearing it from the team too.
Yeah.
Everyone feels like they're in a better mindset.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. It started with us. It had to start with us. And I
from
think
the top, right?
Yeah.
we were resisting a lot.
Yeah. Well,
Until we were like, well, you said to
Well,
Jordan this morning,
well,
you
the
gonna do it or
resistance
not?
starts also from, you're the one that started the company. It is very foreign for someone to start letting go of all the jobs. It's not that easy.
Yeah,
Like
it's very
it's just,
natural.
for example, you're roasting your own coffee. All right, let go of your roasting.
But
Let
I
me
just
roast,
started.
right? But
I
it's
didn't
the
even
same,
have a year.
Yeah, it's the same feeling though. It's the same feeling. And also for, playing the guitar for a while, right?
Right.
It's very different if you start to expand and say you just want to compose, but you're not the actual guitar player anymore.
Right.
It's a
No, I
different
totally
feeling.
get that.
Yeah.
Yeah. We want to be composers.
Yeah.
No, I get that because I would teach the other guitarist in our band the songs and
Yeah.
Yeah.
trying to work them through it. And this is
Yeah.
what I envision it. And, yeah.
And you're messing
Yeah, and you're messing up. Yeah.
Savage.
It happens. I get it. I understand.
Yeah. It's a total different mindset, but it's also reminding myself that you're letting go for a main purpose, is that you're here to grow, and you're not here to be stagnant, because if you're stagnant in your own mindset, then everyone's going to be stagnant as well. Everyone's doing the same thing. No one's actually growing. They're just doing the same thing. right? So as long as one of us, right, takes the leap, mainly it's always me, just fighting with myself is let's do it. Let's do it.
Gotcha.
Yeah. I like that you're more decisive now.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
going to ask real quick, do you think it was like a natural move or did you have to kind of push it yourself? Like, was it time, do you feel?
It did. I mean, now it feels like it's a good time. I mean, we could have done this like 4 or 3 years ago, but timing wasn't right. There was many personal changes that we had to do. We were working on our relationship. So, working on the business, growing the business while working on the relationship.
Very hard.
Yeah, it was probably really difficult. At the same time, we didn't have the right players playing with us. So the right team. So that usually plays a role as well. But now I think everyone is in their own place. Everyone has a purpose in the company and in what they want to fulfill, right? So now that we know that, now we can grow.
Right.
Because we automatically know, okay, let's grow you in this way. We want this, let's do that. So there's expectations, there's a clear path that you can see. Before the path wasn't clear. Yeah, it was like there was sand everywhere.
Sand.
Things are following you, and you're like, ah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then, so it feel good this year.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, we missed you. Welcome back. You know?
Yeah.
So here I am.
And with all this talk about growth, it's a perfect segue into today's topic, which is about inspirations. Not just inspirations from other entrepreneurs, but in all types of media, movies, music, all kinds of things, anything and everything. So can you guys talk about your personal inspirations that help keep your guys' maybe business spirit alive, or just, your careers like just going,
Yeah.
I'm interested. What are yours?
Yeah, my personal inspiration is, and it's probably for many business owners, always looking at Apple and how they systemize their company and where they're at currently today. But although Steve Jobs is no longer a part of Apple anymore and Tim Cook has taken over, but that transition of Tim Cook taking over to when Steve Jobs was the CEO of the company, and when he left Apple, or he got kicked out of Apple and came back, just seeing all of those movements that he made through the company gave me inspiration and how to become a better leader, but a different leader than he was, but still
In your own way.
in your own way. Yeah. So I would say, as I don't want to grow our company that large,
Yeah.
but just know that it's an inspiration to be able to manage even a smaller size that we have, but have more culture. So make it feel like family. Everyone's close knit. Yeah.
Right.
And that they feel, they're rewarded. They feel good when they come and work. There's always a good mood, right? And that's what I want. I don't want it to feel like work.
Right.
Yeah.
So Apple's been one of the bigger inspirations for you as far as other entrepreneurs go.
Because when I worked at Apple, even though you have to sell computers, but then something about their culture is that you believe in their product, right? And it goes down to their employees that you believe in their product, and these employees that work for Apple wants to promote their products. And every time a customer that comes in the door and saying, "Oh, what did you think about that new Microsoft Surface?" and all that, right? But you're going to step it up and market Apple. Yeah, and that's the strong culture that we want to promote in our business. Is we want to believe in our brand. Yeah.
I see. What about you, Meg? As far as other entrepreneurs or businesses go, who's
On a smaller scale, I really admire JK Films because they I feel like they have so many parallels to how we are personally, our upbringing, our background, how our parents were, to how they struggled with the same thing of like building a team. But they were a lot more successful first. They understood that they didn't have to always like care for themselves first. They served their team first. That was the first inkling and big red flag for us. Well, for me, when I was like, why can't we create a team? And I think before it was like we were always looking out for us as the owner first. We were serving ourselves first, which was a really toxic thing, because it would be like, even between us, it's like, I have to protect myself. And now I know where that comes from. It's a sort of scarcity mindset and a fear-based mindset that was like, you didn't feel safe where you work. And I'm reading about it now in a book right now. And number one is for somebody to feel safe. Like you talked about earlier, said people will often choose better management versus like getting paid well, because like they love coming to work and they love that they're appreciated and that they have something to contribute, right? And they just have a better time there. They have a culture. And so when I learned that like a long time ago, I was like, okay. So like kind of had an idea, and then slowly start to understood that we as leaders have to take care of the team first and serve yourself last.
So you've seen this in JK Films?
Yeah.
The team.
Like,
What's JK Films?
JK Films is they're a YouTube group. They're headed by Bart, Quan, and Joe Jitsukawa. So they are old school YouTube people who got successful with YouTube. And how they made their money was they were like, dude, we got to make a lot of content. Like they understood the big picture of their business. They're like, let's go make cool films. If we get a lot of views, then we can all support each other. So they started to pick up better quality people for their team. They're like, cool, Casey is a director. He could take our videos to the next level. And they approached Casey and said, like I heard in one of their vlogs, they were like, what are your expenses? Like, what do you need? Like, we'll take care of that. Just please make content for us all the time. Like, help us, upgrade us. And they just took that mentality with each one of their people. And that's why their people are so loyal to them. Because they're like, dude, Bart and Joe took care of me. I'm going to give them everything.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
That's interesting, because I just heard a podcast while I was showering today. I was listening to it, and it's also a YouTuber, some YouTube group, and I guess that there was promises made that from the top going down that he was going to take care of his people and promise them these benefits until something happened. They started to unionize, and now they're attacking him because so it's one of those situations.
So because he didn't deliver?
He didn't deliver on his word, and now it seems like both sides are just, it looks like it's bad news for this channel. I forget the name or company. So this whole media thing is just, it looks like it's tanking. And I just heard that on the podcast this morning. So what you guys are talking about is feeding into, your employees and having them come back. Like you said, choosing management, choosing culture. But it seems like with this type of channel, it was more about the numbers and like scarcity, and I can't give you that much, I can't promise that much. It was all a lie. And now it's tanking. So
that's very similar to what happened to Blue Bottle.
Oh, really?
Right? Blue Bottle is all about the numbers, the owner himself and probably other partners.
Blue Bottle Coffee.
Yeah, Blue Bottle Coffee. And they got into that business. He was a passionate roaster, and then they got bought out by Nestle. His belief of coffee, and you know more about this.
Yeah,
But then I would say
we don't know the whole story.
Yeah, we don't know the whole story.
But
but from what you do know.
From like what I know is basically he was the artist. He had a vision for his coffee, and there was two other partners that were more about business and about making money, so about the bottom line. So it's really hard to compromise. We deal with this conflict all the time of the artist and the business person making money or fulfilling your art, fulfilling your spirit as an artist. So there was that big conflict, but I think in the end, the artist or the roaster was like, all right, cool, I'm just going to cut my losses right here. I gave everything I could to Blue Bottle. They're going to take it. Nestle's now bought it out. They're going to take it, and whatever comes with it, comes with it. I can still basically do my thing, and I can use that money from the exit to go fund my own passion. So I think it's fine. It's just like, it's what happens. It's how you, because money is always just a tool. You can still go do your thing as an artist.
And that's what you said. That's how you viewed money, as a tool.
It's a tool.
Yeah. It will hurt your heart, your artist's heart.
But then
to let
you're just not
go.
hurting the artist's heart. You're hurting everyone that they worked for you, you know, and then you were their, basically their chief of that company.
Right.
And if you probably told them something and then they believe in your company, now it's bought out by Nestle. Yeah.
Well, change is inevitable. Change will happen. This is something that I always try to communicate to the team. Now we tell them a standard. I tell you guys a standard and go, okay, don't get married to this, you know, because we will change. You'll change. And if our goals still align 2 years later down the line, cool. But if they don't,
to adapt.
Let's realize that change will happen and occur. If things stay the same, cool.
Well, things won't stay the same.
But they won't.
Yeah.
They never will. You know,
They'll never will.
You know, don't get too attached to things. You know, that's where I think feelings get hurt, or like, oh, well, it was this way. And I have experience with that. But you have to put that buffer and be like, expect that things will evolve. That's a better term.
Yeah.
It's not like you're letting go and like saying trash to that. You're like, we're going to evolve from this.
But once we evolve and you feel that, like, that comfortability is no longer there, that's the growing pains right there for you.
Right.
We're going to write that.
So we
now.
probably felt the growing pains a lot earlier, but then the team haven't felt it until we started to implement these new changes.
It's the wave. Right?
Yeah, it's the
starts
wave.
with you, and then it goes.
And then it goes to the team.
Right.
Yeah. The growing pains just between us had to be like, do you accept these growing pains? Just between us is like a new marriage, you know? Like, do you accept it? But for a long time, we're like, nah.
How long was a long time, would you say? Just ballpark.
For
that pain, that section.
Oh, it can be as long as it takes. Yeah. It all depends on if you're ready to make it a consistent action in your business.
I see.
Yeah.
Interesting. I'm gonna do my personal podcast about
for example, editing, right?
It's daily.
So originally last year, I hired an editor from Indonesia to edit for us. I thought it would be a lot faster. The pay rate is a lot, you know, more. It was a good transition to hire someone out when you didn't know if you can afford an actual editor in the US, because they do charge more. Labor's a little bit higher, right? So in Indonesia, it was a good stepping stone to learn how to teach someone, learn how to, if they're able to adapt to your editing style. So I did teach a guy over Indonesia, and it came back a complete opposite of what I was expecting. So I was like, all right, I'm not going to fire him, but let's work with it. So I worked with him for a full month, getting his editing skills up to our par. But then it comes to a point he's still doing different things, or it's just the technology that they're working with. And it ended up not working at all. He couldn't, he had his own schedule over there, different time zone, everything was different. And I was like, this is not working. It's definitely not possible with how we deliver our products, right?
Right.
So we cut that off, and we're like, you know what? This is not priority right now. Our priority is to find a solid team. And that's what we worked on. And we just kind of put editing on the back burner, and now we're revisiting the editing, finding an editor, which is going to be Georgia.
Yeah. So yay, it's an in-house.
So it's all in-house, and let's do it again now that we have more energy. So it all takes time.
One piece.
Yeah,
after
one piece at a time. It's
Yeah.
it's best not to try to work on too many things on your business, because we all know how painful that would be.
Right.
Yeah. Because we saw it in you, remember when we first drafted the agreement? Are you able to handle
Can you do all the things?
this second shooting training with all these things, right? And then you start to feel that pressure is like, oh, they weren't kidding.
I remember just last weekend, right before you guys showed up to the venue, or right before you came in, I was washing my hands and looking in the mirror. I was like, am I the right person for this? Like, can I do this? Should I just get in my car? But then that was just the nerves, right before.
That's good. You feel like that.
Yeah. Because I want to do good, but then it's just human. You're gonna have those doubts.
You are.
So I was like, man, am I the right person?
Exactly.
Good, I like that.
and then you guys trained me, and then you're like, good job on the first try. I was like, oh, I can
self-check.
do this.
Yeah.
But it's just like lifting when we lift, and you're like, oh man, I don't know if I can push another one, and then you just need to. When I started to count differently, because we do like 12 reps of every set, and once I see him like kind of struggle a little bit, I'm going to count differently.
How?
Besides counting all the way to 12, when he reaches 10, I'll count to 3. That'll be 1, 2, 3. So
mentally.
Yeah, mentally, it's a mental shift that you're like, oh, this is easy. All right, I only have 3 more.
It's not 12. But
it's not 12.
It's 3 more.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, that's definitely helpful.
Yeah.
But it's the same thing as well.
Sometimes you gotta trick yourself.
Yeah.
But it sounds like, as far as inspiration goes, you guys want to take the culture from something like an Apple, the attention to your employees from something like JK Films, and just put that in your own business, right?
In our own.
So this is
in
what
our
you're
own way.
seeing from other businesses, entrepreneurs.
I'm not sure with other people.
Yeah.
In the photography industry?
No, I mean, this is what you two are seeing.
Oh, yeah.
And putting into your
what
business.
you guys are showing us, like the team, the current KLV team now, it's way different.
Is different.
Because our energy is different. Like, we're very clear about what we want now.
Cool.
Instead of being like, wait, like, does it mean we don't get to eat? Like, that was how we thought before. It's like, oh, if we serve you guys first, does that mean we get to eat? Like, so that was like a weird little mind shift that we had to change and evolve, because when you first start your own business, like, and I get why he was so guarded about the way that he does things, because it took that much to get to this point. So then finally, when you're trying to scale and expand, they're like, nope, that doesn't work anymore.
Right.
You could try it, but you're going to end up really stressed out, or have employees that aren't loyal to you, and you'll have a very high turnover rate, which we already experienced. So now we're like, oh yeah, if we feed everybody, they'll take care of us because they know we're taking care of them, like a family.
Yeah.
Right.
But every business will struggle in different ways. This is how we just kind of struggled in getting to this point.
Yeah.
Other people they probably had more capital than we did when they first started their business, and with that amount of capital, you can kind of play it right, but sometimes even how much you have, you can play it wrong.
Yeah, I mean, Amazon is like that. They have all the capital, right?
Yeah.
But their turnover rate is so high that
But they still don't care.
Yeah, and
Which is weird.
And they haven't figured it out.
They haven't figured it out. And their employees are just, there's so much going on, and they're like struggling out there. But even with all that capital, they still don't have that. And what happens,
foundation,
right, is people are going to choose management over that, peace of mind.
I mean, I think they get that they can get all the people on a short-term goal.
Right.
Because there's a lot of people who think short-term, especially if you're young.
Yeah.
You don't think long-term.
Right.
But
or you're in a pinch.
Exactly. We're trying to encourage everybody to think a little bit more long-term.
More long-term.
And to get in the habit of choosing things that are better for you in the long run. When you're young, you're not really thinking that. But if we have the opportunity to help mentor whoever's working with us, they'll make better decisions overall.
In the long run.
Yeah.
Right.
But in life as well, it can be applied to your personal life.
Yeah, we're not just trying to be like, shoot a wedding. We're trying to be here for you as a whole.
Yeah, I totally get that.
It's more life.
Yeah,
It's
why I
a
go
life
to the gym
business.
with you. Yeah.
Yeah.
I go to the gym with
Yeah.
Kevin to see like all the aspects. Like,
Yeah.
When I said I wanted to learn everything, like that's what I meant. Like,
Yeah.
his morning routine and just like how he counts, even that is
That's
Yeah.
you
how
can
we
apply
are.
that to business, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. It's the first quarter, but if I just count to the next one, I'm not thinking about like the full year, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So things like that. But other than businesses and other entrepreneurs, what else inspires you guys? Like, have you seen a movie lately that I think you said you watched Ford and Ferrari or something like that?
Oh, yeah, Ford
that
and
was a good
Ferrari.
one.
Can you guys
That
speak
was
on
good.
other elements of inspiration?
Well, Ford and Ferrari was very well.
Is that a bad example?
That's the artist versus the businessman right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
They were. It was really good, and I just don't know names, so I can't really reference them.
It's Christian Bale and Matt Damon.
Okay, Christian Bale and Matt Damon. So Christian Bale was the artist, and Matt Damon, I would say he was like the artist, but he was an artist and / businessman.
Yeah,
but
that
then
good
the
concept,
true
yeah.
businessman was whoever owned Ford in that movie,
Yeah.
right? But he was like the guy that hired Matt Damon to kind of find this artist that can make him win the race, right? And that was Christian Bale. But then the way Christian Bale dressed, he wasn't presentable. So he didn't have that professionalism that Ford wants and to represent their brand, right? So he didn't really believe in Christian Bale.
Yeah.
But Christian Bale was the artist. He can get you there, right? So it's like, don't judge a book by its cover,
Right,
in a way.
Right.
Gotcha.
Yeah. It was inspiring, but it's definitely a little different from
Different, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just inspiring about the car industry. It's not
Yeah.
like anything that I would take.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you, Meg? Have you seen anything recently?
I think probably Parasite was really good in terms of how karma works,
Mm-hmm.
how your kindness can go a long way, how thinking short term, a poor man's mentality versus a rich man's mentality, and that there is pros and cons to both, or there can be. For example, being rich or being wealthy, you start to maybe judge those who are coming from a poorer background, and how blindsided it can make you. And you have all this like wealth, and you can get particularly comfortable with your wealth and maybe be blind to even your own like you can have all the things, and it kind of speaks to your own ego and your own selfishness when you refuse to see the labor or the work that goes into how you even can have all this stuff. Like Parasite was about like you're trying to figure out who's the parasite, and the obvious one is the people who took over. Have you seen it?
I've not seen it, but it's okay. You
Yeah. So there's a poor group who comes into a rich group, and they infiltrate the rich group. And they do it by capitalizing on their blindness. They're like, oh, yeah, they just fake it, right? And they infiltrate. They basically work their way member by member. And all the while they're like, while they're serving this family, they go back home to their really poor apartment area and they just talk shit about them. And they're like, they're so dumb. They're so blind. They're so nice because they're rich. They're not just nice for no reason. So they have this prejudgment upon the rich people. And then at the same time, rich people are like, they smell, they come from that area. They're like, they're stuck there, which was kind of true. So they both had this prejudice against each other. And if they could only just kind of like have a little bit of compassion and understanding and kind of like be on the same page, still recognize where each other's coming from. But like if the poor people could recognize that, hey, if I work really hard, maybe these people will hook me up. I don't have to scam my way in. And if the rich people were like, could just give a little bit of humanity and compassion to these people that were in a poorer state, they would have their loyalty.
that middle ground. Right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So that was a lesson for me to always remember, like,
Well, in that movie, everyone was a parasite.
well, the biggest parasite is the rich people. That's how it's been
Right.
analyzed, is that they take and take and take, and they don't wish to elevate anybody else. So I think they're rich, but they're not wealthy.
I see.
They're not wealthy. Wealthy meaning you bring everyone with you.
Right. Share.
Yeah.
You know.
The right people.
Right.
That you bring them with you.
Right. Those willing to learn, work hard, you
Right.
know, all that kind of thing, right?
Right.
Yeah.
It's cool. I've not seen that movie. I keep hearing about it.
You gotta
a good
see it,
movie.
man.
Kevin's talked about it a few times.
Yeah.
It's good. There's a lot of little lessons in there, and
Yeah.
a poor man's mentality is so toxic.
Yeah.
But so is somebody who's rich, like in
What
their
is
ego.
a poor man's mentality? What does that mean?
Short-term gains.
Short-term
Short-term
gains.
gains.
For example, let's take the preserve. So in this area, we would classify this in terms of class. You know, we have high class, middle class, low class, right?
Oh, you're talking about this little section where
In
you
this
live,
area.
right?
Right. So
Yeah.
this is a mixed. You can have rich man's mindset and poor man's mindset, and kind of like in the middle ground, all in here. And you can tell who's who, because the poor man's mindset will not take care of their belongings. They will not pick up the poop of their pets. They are loud. They're undisciplined. They just don't take care of their things.
Right.
So they don't establish respect and discipline for the things that they have. They just kind of waste away. Don't take care. Don't maintain. If you can't maintain, that means you can't maintain wealth either.
You're gonna burn through it.
You burn through it,
Yeah.
right? You think short term, whatever.
Right.
There's no pride in one's belongings or one's home or one's car, you know, and all these things. So all these little behavioral things, that's usually a poor man's mentality, and that's what keeps you in poverty, because you don't expand beyond that. You don't have the discipline to save, or you don't have the discipline to be a good person, to be decent,
Right.
to watch out for your fellow man.
Right.
Like whenever I pick up the poop of my dog, I'm trying to watch out for the next person. And every time I see somebody else just leave it, I'm like, I just automatically judge them. It's
Yeah.
like, this person's poor.
yeah.
Like you can't pick up after your dog.
Yeah.
What
Right.
else do you not do in your life?
Right.
I'll judge you.
But the thing is, like, you know how the preserve around this area, they're trying to develop, right? This community to make it nice. But it's not going to be nice if you don't take care of it.
Right.
Oh, people
Yeah.
leave trash, right? People puke outside of the thing right here. And I'm like, what? Why? You'll not see this in Irvine.
Right.
You're not going to see that in Irvine, because everybody has worked very hard
You
to
can
get there.
cook food off the streets of Irvine, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So nice.
Cleanliness is next to godliness, right?
Yeah.
So for those who don't maintain, who can't even take care, who don't have consideration for the community that they live in, that's a poor person mentality. That's what you find in poverty. That's why it looks like shit.
The reason why I asked that is because I Ubered someone this weekend, a couple.
Yeah.
And they just had this, you know, what I would call now a poor man's mentality.
Yeah.
They're just kind of like, you know, eating with their mouth open, just kind
Yes.
of being a little crummy,
Loud
you
and-
know, like.
Crummy,
So
yeah.
I had to stop for gas because we were going to the Queen Mary.
Yeah.
So I put gas in my car, and they came.
Really.
Yeah, they came back with all these like food and hot dogs, and I'm like, but my car was already dirty from all this wind and rain. I was like, whatever.
Whatevs.
Yeah. So I'm like, okay, they tell me they're not going to make a mess. They said, we're going to clean up. We're going to do all this. They're talking to me.
Yeah.
We're enjoying each other's company. They're good people. But sure enough, when I dropped them off,
Yeah.
they left the soda bottle right there on the seat. They didn't even try to hide it. There's
Yeah.
napkins everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm over here helping them with their luggage, blah, 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 all this stuff. And
Yeah.
they just left my car like a trash
Exactly.
can.
Not considerate.
Yeah,
you know?
not consider it.
Yeah, and I could just, you know, it just made
And that's
so
the
much
same
sense.
thing with so my dad also he has an Airbnb way back in the day before they start enforcing not to have Airbnbs in Anaheim. It was a brand new home, new furniture, everything, and they had a party in there and trashed the place.
Wow.
So it just
That's a poor
show
man's
that that's a
mentality.
poor man's
man's
mentality, is that you have this nice place, but respect it, you know.
Yeah.
But if you can't take care of it, don't stay there. And,
Yeah. It also just shows, I mean, people who it's probably deep rooted, but they're like, if you can't respect certain things like that, or you like leave something dirty, you have no awareness, it's probably because you don't care for yourself either.
Well, that's the thing when, for a good example, are rappers,
Right.
when they started from nothing and then they jumped to 1,000% of having something, they don't know what to do with it. They'll burn through that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
They'll go out and buy cars and everything.
Not
and
invest.
Right. Yeah.
Not bring other. So I totally get that.
They choose the image of looking
Fly.
rich and whatnot.
Depreciating assets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gucci belt, it's only going to decrease, those cars.
Yeah. I mean, you can gift yourself.
So it's short-term gains.
Short-term gains.
Short-term gains to put it all.
Yeah.
To put it all in perspective. So what is, if that's poor man, what's rich man? What does that look like?
So, for example, you're starting off, right? And you're 18 years old. You got your first paycheck, right? If you're thinking right, then that paycheck you'll save or you'll reinvest that money. And you're not just, because with 18 you have all this motivation of just spending it right away because, oh wow, it's my first paycheck, so that's a poor man's mentality, is if you spent that entire check, right? But then if you invest it, that's a rich mentality. You're thinking about assets. You want to build assets, right? You're thinking about your long-term future, where you see yourself like 5 years from now, if you keep saving.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was our mentality, or my mentality originally when I got into wedding photography. How am I going to afford all this equipment, right? Like, if I would say everything all together now collectively is about 50 grand, right? I didn't start with 50 grand. I started with a kit lens, Olympus actually. And then from there, I shot with it, and then I sold it, I flipped it, but then I also got money from gigs and then upgraded to a Nikon, but then I still only had one body and one lens.
Right.
And then after that, shot more gigs, reinvested it, and then got a Canon. And
Step by step.
And then it was all for the long-term game.
Right.
Yeah.
I see. Where you could have burned maybe your whole first gig's worth on one.
And still stick with the Olympus throughout your career.
Right.
Yeah. But how far is that going to get you with that Olympus?
Right.
Yeah.
So you constantly have to do this.
You constantly would have to. Like right now, the mirrorless came out, right? I would have to save up for that. But then we would all have to transition.
Eventually.
Yeah. Eventually.
Yeah, that's crazy. So rich man, poor man. But the saying, I've heard this so many times, is how you do one thing is how you do everything, right?
Yeah.
And it's crazy because once you guys told me all this right now, I'm just remembering all the people I drove for Uber and all the candy wrappers I found. And it's just crazy. It blows my mind.
Well, like ask yourself, what is an asset and what is a liability?
What's putting money in your pocket and what just keeps draining it?
All right. Because I'm remembering the conversations. I'm remembering the type of people that were in the car and what they talked about, what was important to them. And then the candy wrappers and trash that they left. It was all relative. It was all what you guys are talking about.
Yeah.
People who made a mess in my car weren't talking about investments or their future or anything like that.
Yeah.
They weren't talking about any of that. Yeah. That's for sure.
Yeah, like many times, like we ask ourselves, right? Do we need that truck in the front? It's currently a liability right now.
Because all cars are liabilities.
All cars are a liability, but then in some ways, it's also an asset because it gets you from A to B, and where you have to do your job, right? So in terms of that, is an asset to a business.
A reasonable priced car is an asset.
Yeah.
So we wouldn't have a Lambo. Lambo can still get you from A to B, right? But that's a liability.
That's a liability.
Yeah, for sure.
All cars are technically a
liability.
liability because it depreciates, and there's only like 1 or 2 cars in the world or something that will actually appreciate.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a liability. And what things, all these nice, pretty, shiny things, a lot of males tends to buy new cars every 5 years because they just want the latest and greatest, right? So that's the poor man's mentality.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So what else is out there for you guys? Like, do you listen to podcasts that inspire you to keep, like, music? Are there video game characters made? Like, I'm trying to draw from other elements that maybe isn't typical.
Well, every now and again, I'll discover an artist that I like. Like Billie Eilish is probably the latest and greatest that I've kind of dived into. When I find somebody I like, I'll go watch all their interviews. I'll go listen to all their things. From what I've been able to, like, be inspired from in her young age, she's like 18 years old. I remember her saying, like, you know, I just want to be free. I will always change and evolve. You know, I was this way last year and I'm this way now, and I don't apologize for it. And I'm not going to give anybody any ammunition to judge me, and I'm just going to be me. And I thought that was really inspiring, to be so young and to be so confident in oneself, because that takes time, I think, to be confident in yourself.
Right.
Not just in one thing that you do, but in everything that you do. So it looks like she's, like, on the physical level, on the emotional level, and on her artist level, she's very confident.
She's just firing on all cylinders.
Yeah,
huh?
she just allows herself to be a true artist and emote a certain way and not be judged.
I don't know too much about her, so but I know she's really popular right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I just went and saw, like, a couple of interviews, and when I learned like her thinking behind all her music and everything, I thought that was pretty interesting. Yeah. Not to be tied down.
Right.
Like her genre, she doesn't want to be just defined by one genre, so she just goes wherever she wants to go.
I've only known the popular songs, so I don't really know what else she does. But she does look like a rapper to me. Like, she's got, like, she looks kind of gangster, you know?
She looks kind of gangster.
But she can sing really well.
But she has a feminine side too, which I liked. I don't know
about any of that.
I was like, ooh, that's cool. So I like it when women can go, you know, can scale on the scale of, like, femininity and masculinity. They can go from one end to the other and not feel all, like, weird about it.
Yeah.
You know, I like that.
Guys aren't going to do that.
I mean, because as a woman, you're always, our perspective is different.
Right.
It's like, if I start to wear certain clothing that will make me, I guess, more feminine or whatever, I should expect a certain response. And then I was like, well, I don't like that response, so I'm gonna kind of dress down a little bit. But then I'm at the same time hindering what I want to do based on somebody else's response, which I was like, this is some bullshit. I should just be able to dress however I feel on that day. You know, so I like that freedom. I thought that was inspiring, just as a woman.
Yeah.
And not to be too concerned, like, oh, but I usually wear this. Or I usually don't wear lipstick. Like, I don't want any of that in my head. I just want to be like, if I want it, I want it.
Too many walls, too many barriers.
I want to be free.
Yeah, I would say a lot. Yeah, like, when it comes to being a woman, there is many.
A woman?
I mean, a woman, like
a whammon.
What's that?
I want to be a whammon.
Women. There are many walls that they have to put up, right? So just bringing it down. I feel like guys, we don't have that many walls to impress.
Right.
Like, we just put on a shirt. We don't wear makeup. You know.
You are what you are.
Yeah.
It's so weird. It's such a weird game that we subconsciously play as women. It's like, if like wedding photography, for example, there's so many times I had to be a little bit more masculine, because if I acted more feminine, or if I acted more myself, I guess, then I would get all of these advances. So I started to act harder, tougher, less smiley, because then I wouldn't have to deal with all of that stuff. So there's this, like, weird mask that you have to wear sometimes. It's like a shield so that you don't have to deal with some bullshit.
Right. I see.
Yeah, like Courtney's dealing with that right now because she's so bubbly and like kind of like, you know, outward. And, but then she's always like, they're hating on me.
Right.
I was like, well, you got to tighten it up because like that's how it is sometimes for women. You have to kind of like put up the shields and stuff.
Yeah, just don't, you know, be approachable.
Right.
Like, you know, it just...
Isn't that retarded though? It's like, oh, I have to be unapproachable so that I could just do my job. This is something I want to change in the industry, but I don't really know how we are going to, address it. But it's definitely, something that needs to be addressed.
I think it happens in males too, but just differently.
Yeah.
Like, for example, if, you know, you're shooting, say, 6 men, right? Mm-hmm. You have to put on this hardness to not be advanced on. Whereas in a male, you have to have a similar mindset because you're trying to get something done. And if you present yourself too weak, they'll walk all over you.
Yes. Yeah.
Men,
it was a careful balance.
It's just the outcome is different. Instead of getting hit on, you may actually maybe like get attacked, not physically, but I'm saying like made fun of, or like you'll be treated as less, a weaker version of what we are. So
I got that too, because you know, if you look so young, they automatically do not respect you and what you're trying to do. That was always a challenge, but like, I don't know. It's in everything. Like everything starts to get a little harder, or get a little bit more
flex,
masculine, or whatever. Like less makeup starts to go on. You know, like I'm just here to do my job. But yeah, so annoying.
Yeah, it's funny because you're saying how Billie Eilish could like scale from one leg to other.
Yeah, I like
and
that.
Kevin's like, guys aren't gonna do it. It's true.
Well, it's a big reason why I stopped like posting selfies too, because I was like, oh, I don't want to be.
Oh my
I mean,
goodness.
even though I would be like, cool, I'm proud of this look, or I'm proud of this, whatever, or I'm feeling this, or whatever. But then the way that it's perceived is like, oh, you're trying to draw attention to yourself, or you're trying to, I don't know, get likes or whatever the hell. So I was like, well, fuck that. I'm not posting any more goddamn selfies.
So
but it's silly that I have to worry about it.
You didn't want to do it because you felt like there was too many critics or something like that? Like people
not
were
critics, but just like, you know, once you start doing those kinds of things, or I don't know, I just got like...
it welcomes a certain type of people.
It does.
Right.
You're not trying to.
But it
does.
Yeah, right,
and
I
I'm
see.
like, well, I get that, so I'm not going to do that anymore. But then I started to act maybe even like too hard or too unfeminine, or not being me. Like that's the big point, is like, I'm not being me for a reason that really shouldn't matter.
I see.
Yeah. Like if I want to be feminine, I should just be feminine, not worry about like, well, are people going to freaking do stuff or say things to me that I have to deal with or whatever.
I had a similar experience like that, especially because I was young and I grew up in this selfie age.
Yeah.
I was one of those guys like posting pictures all the time, like barely any clothes on. I was really fit back then. And I was this guy, and I got all this attention, and I thought that that's what I wanted.
Yeah.
And then now, like, I just post pictures of my cat, and like I don't even care anymore. Like, I just felt what I was chasing was very empty, and the people I was attracting were very empty.
That too. Like, I just didn't want to deal with that anymore.
Yeah. And now I'm just like, whatever.
Yeah.
I would say back then I was not truly confident. I was just trying to.
That's true.
I was trying to show strength, or like, I want a 6-pack. I'll show my 6-pack or whatever. Like, to me, looking back in my own experience, that was not confidence. That was actually, for me, weakness.
Like fishing.
I was fishing. I was looking for validation. Whereas today, I'm more confident than that Bryan was. And I don't have a 6-pack anymore. Like, I didn't really have a close one or anything like that. So it's just interesting. That's why I stopped doing the whole, like, look at, like, I can't keep up. Anyway, even if I wanted to, like, man, you got to have a new outfit every day. And like,
too much.
It's retarded.
So that's interesting. But I also noticed that more guys are doing it even now than when I was doing it back then. So like
it's
now
weird,
it's
right?
just boom, 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 boom.
It's a lot.
It's everywhere, right?
I'm like,
Now it's on TikTok.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, what I'm wondering, since we're talking about like this whole thing, is that poor man's mentality or is that businessman mentality? What do you
About
think?
self-image?
About this whole like, because some would say it's a form of branding. I've heard of this. You know, people with a certain look will attract, you know, they'll be ambassadors for clothing or anything.
Dude, I'm at odds with it all the time.
Well, actually, it all depends on what's your purpose with it, you know? Like,
Yeah, intention.
yeah, what's your intention? What's the main goal with
Yeah.
this? Like, if you're taking selfies, but there's no purpose, then that's a poor man's mentality.
Yeah.
Right.
But if
But
you-
why?
because it makes no sense. Like,
Short term?
it's short. I mean, like you're only gaining likes. It's not like you're making money out of it,
Yeah.
right? But then a rich man's mentality will have purpose. He's taking specific selfies that may have indirect promotion to his product or whatever. You know,
Purpose.
there's always a purpose.
I see.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I got at odds with like, you know, with Black City. I was like, well, I don't want to get the attention of people who are here just for my looks. So I just straight up was like, I'm going to look my tomboy self. It's not like it's not me, but it's my tomboy self. So I just was,
You're comfortable in this.
I'm comfortable there and I don't have to worry about like makeup or whatever. And I don't have to worry about inappropriate comments.
See, I didn't even think about that. Like,
Because if I look at all the videos that I've made and I, you know, some comments you get are just like, okay.
That's why I like Sia, you know,
see it. Oh, she's the one who
who
doesn't
always
show
hides her face, but
Yeah.
then, you know, has good music and stuff. And that's her intentions. It's
Yeah.
like she
Just
wants,
listen to my music.
yeah, pay attention to the music. Don't pay attention who's making it.
Right.
Yeah.
I see.
Billie Eilish is like that. So she wears these big old baggy clothes, so you can't judge her body, right? Like we all do, or like the media does.
Yeah.
She's like, that's why I wear this, because then I don't give people a chance to even think about that stuff. You know, it's just, I'm just here for my music. Yeah.
That's kind of cool.
And I was like that I'm still like that.
But then I always think about what he says, and I always think he has a rich man's mentality because he's like, well, you have to present well. So I always feel at odds. I'm like, well, so I have to do my hair, I have to do my eyes. I
Yeah,
have to
you
do
definitely
my
have to present
things.
well when
Yeah.
it comes to selling your product.
Right.
Right. But then when it comes to our work on Instagram, I never showed my face. I just want them to pay attention to our
To the
work.
product.
But then I do get it where sometimes you have to chime in and show your face that there's still people behind your work.
Right.
So I get that. But it's also interesting now thinking about Slipknot, you know, where they always wore a mask and never
Good band. Good
yeah.
band.
They never showed their face.
They're
Yeah.
scary.
Yeah. But the thing is, yeah, they have great music again. And this is way before Sia was a thing. So I think Sia kind of took after some role models
Right.
and not showing her face.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, it's like a mask, right?
hmm
So it's still a persona.
Well, it's
that
like
you
Van
put
Gogh,
out.
right? Van Gogh. Which painter didn't show his face?
Van Gogh showed his face.
Who didn't show?
Banksy?
Well, Banksy didn't show
Yeah,
his
there's
face.
quite a few,
Yeah.
actually.
Banksy.
Yeah.
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 But I understand that because that's how that's what I've come to feel now as a musician. Before I would really enjoy, or I thought I would enjoy being, you know, lead guitarist or something like that. But now I really don't care. I just want people to like the music. I'm not concerned with like the followers or like putting a number on it. I just want people to enjoy it.
Yeah.
And that's about it. But I was very much concerned with like
The image.
the image and like, oh man, it's too much.
Yeah.
But I think now's a good point to get into our shutter speed questions.
Cool.
You guys ready for that?
Mhm.
Okay.
Kevin, do you know how this works?
Shutter speed?
Shutter speed questions.
No. Is this something new you guys made up?
Yeah, this is a segment in our show. Here.
Okay.
So basically, you're going to answer these questions as fast as you can,
Yeah.
or yes or no.
Okay.
So very quickly. So Meg, I'll start with you.
Mm-hmm.
Question number 1. Do you have the ability to inspire?
Yes.
Kevin, same question.
Yes.
Why?
I think I have the right language.
Uh,
Yeah. I've practiced and I'm considerate.
Okay.
So I just consider you, and I think I know how to inspire you.
Cool. Kevin?
So knowing based on how the team works now, knowing each person's mentality and also their personality, I have a clear goal in mind and where we want to be as a company. So I know that I can inspire everyone to reach that goal. So there is a clear path, a clear direction.
So you've seen the result.
Yeah.
I see. Gotcha. Ready?
Because I've seen that result.
That's it.
Okay. All right.
Shorter speed. I just wanted to know because you guys answered very fast. There was no
Yeah.
It was very quick. Next question. What is your greatest achievement?
Oh, wow.
Shutter speed.
My marriage.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
Kevin.
Training you.
What? What? Oh man, I want to cry now. 3. If you weren't working in KLV, you'd be a
probably a marketer for another firm.
marketer for
Yeah,
another
a
firm.
content creator.
Okay,
Yeah.
Kevin. And you don't have to limit yourself. I mean, you could have anything.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'd be a YouTuber.
Ooh, YouTuber.
That fits me.
Yeah.
I think
There
I'd
you go.
be a YouTuber.
Yeah. I'll probably be a fashion photographer. I'll still be in the photography world.
Editorial.
Something editorial.
Runway.
Runway. Yeah.
Cool. Ready? Next question. In 5 years, where do you see yourself?
Having my own coffee, like established, my own coffee line established, and maybe serving coffee on a little tuk-tuk.
What is that?
It's like a little scooter.
Oh,
And you
okay.
have like and you can just go around like somebody else serves you, but I'll be like, I made that, and
Yeah.
then somebody's serving it.
Okay.
I'm not serving it. I just made it.
So that's where Meg's going to be in 5 years,
Yeah.
everybody. Kevin, where are you in 5 years?
I think I'll still be here.
Jeez. Oh, also we will also have our forever home by that time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but in terms of still being here is like now I'm teaching, like innovating, keep inspiring our just basically all of our shooters. So I'll have more of a manager position versus being a technician and shooting. Yeah.
Nice. Last question. If you were a video game character, who would you be?
Ooh.
I know you thought about this.
Oh man, who would I be? Oh no. Oh no.
Shutter speed.
Oh no. Okay, I'm just going based off current games I'm playing then. I would say I think I would say oh shit.
Take it and go. Take it and go.
Dang it. Okay, I'm gonna say Chloe from the Uncharted DLC. Yeah.
Gotcha. Chloe from Uncharted.
Yeah.
Kevin,
Yeah.
if you're a video game character, any video game character, who would you be?
Doesn't have to be a man.
Okay. I'll be Toad.
If you want to be Toad, I was gonna pick Toad. Yeah.
Yeah.
Why
I'll
is
be
that?
Toad because he's fast, but then he's also very smart.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're talking about Toad from the Mario world,
Yeah.
right? Okay.
Yeah.
For some reason, I had a feeling you'd pick something in that universe. Something
That's
told
the
me.
only game I will play. So.
Doesn't play
Other than
other
that, it would be
games.
like Tony Hawk, but he's not a character.
I want to be Toad. Wouldn't you want to do the 900?
Yeah.
I would. Slow motion. Cool. Good question, guys. Yeah, and just to go back on one of them, I think you were saying, what was it? In 5 years, you'd be more of a
More managerial position.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. You don't want to. You'll still be shooting, or you.
I feel that I won't be shooting that much.
Okay.
Mainly, if I shoot, then it would just be more for teaching, training purpose, having the time and energy to even set up even higher end type workshops for the team, so it makes it feel more real. So yeah, we'll invest it in the right areas.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then you'll be out here on the preserve.
Because as of right
Showing
now,
coffee.
Hopefully not in the preserve.
as of right now, we have to buy a veil from Amazon, but later on we'll buy.
It'll be a
veil
nice
from-
one. I'm
Yeah.
looking for shopping.
It's a blanket or something.
And you're, for the audience, you're talking about like to practice with, right?
To practice
Right.
with.
Because they don't know. Why is he buying a veil? Like,
Well,
Oh,
that's
you know,
Billie
yeah.
Eilish going from male to female.
yeah. I'm trying to picture how we could pull that off. How would we do that? How could we scale a little bit?
How do we scale?
How could we do that?
Just be more sensitive, I guess. Be more emotional and
Well, that obviously,
Yeah.
but appearance-wise, how could we do?
appearance wise.
Because Meg was saying, "Oh, I can throw a hat in my videos and like
Yeah.
whatever."
And
be
a little bit
more like those cell
masculine.
phone dudes. If you want.
You'd be like Bretman Rock.
I guess so, right? I guess so. I was just curious.
Actually, Steven does a great job at scaling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shout out to Steven.
Oh, we had one more question.
We do. I was just gonna pull that up. We actually have viewer questions.
Viewer question. That's
Right.
right.
Ready?
Yeah.
So this one comes from a viewer. I don't have the name. But the question was, what role, apart from your lead photographers, is critical in growing your business further?
What role?
What role, apart from your lead photographers, is critical in growing your business further?
Oh, well, my role as a husband.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Is definitely so if I grow in my marriage, I have the same mentality as when we go into our business. We're able to meet each other, know each other's mentality together as a couple, and accelerate in the business.
Mm-hmm.
So we have our personal lives, our personal relationship in check, making sure Megan pull out all of her arrows, meaning that whatever's bothering her, she's able to express it fully. So she doesn't feel resentful, not keeping things inside her head and bottled up and just explode. Same for me as well.
Yeah.
So
Safety. Feeling
Yeah.
safe.
you just want to feel good, because if you feel like crap in your personal life, you're gonna feel like crap also when you work.
Right.
Yeah.
You won't execute the work
Yeah.
that you need to.
So always make sure, have some self-care, but also, like if you're in a relationship, speak with your significant other, making sure you guys are good, you guys are happy, you make time for each other, and it's not always about business, Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you, Meg? How would
Yeah,
you
that-
answer that question?
I answered it, and that kind of like, that's cool that it fits the puzzle piece for my answer too, because I was like, I think how I answered it was the manager, right? The manager is a really crucial role, and that kind of is like me being the best wife I can be.
Mhm.
Because without me really embracing what it means to be a wife, then I couldn't have, I think, embraced the managerial role that I do now.
I see.
Because I'm filling in the gap for my lead, which is also the visionary and the founder of the company. And so in order for him to step away and do the things that he needs to do, I had to step up and fill all that stuff. But I had to learn. I had to be like, accept it. I had to know that the standard is incredibly high and still do it. And then I had to do it better in a way. Do it better in that, like the emotional side of things that was lacking before. So that's what I could bring. Like he brings the artistry and the financials and the more, I guess, masculine parts of a company. But I've heard before from one of my like people that I'm like inspired from, when they went to go do like some seminar thing, they were like, successful relationships have polarity, meaning they fill in the gap for each other. So for sure, that's how we are. And I think that's why we're successful working together, because we have polarity.
Rather than clashing.
Yeah.
In a
Rather than
sense.
both being, both doing the same thing.
You complement
We
each other.
complement each other. We fill in the gap for each other. When he needs to understand something more on the emotional end, or on the more team building end, which is all the stuff that I brought into the company, expanding, scaling, things like this, being able to let go. Because, like, I could have never done what he did, which was, like, just spearhead. I want this. I'm going to do it like this. I'm not going to go to, like, I could never do that. And at the same time, he would never do what I do, which is, like, content creation, transparency, building forms, trying to systemize things. So it's like, cool. It worked out.
Yeah.
But we didn't plan it. But it kind of just worked out.
Right.
But it was an acceptance of me being a manager and going, this role is still good. Because I think before I'd be like, oh, if I'm not the top, then am I not good? Like in a very primal mindset. When you don't understand the big picture, you're like, well, if I'm not lead, then I'm not good. So it was weird. But it's because we weren't talking to each other. We weren't reading. We weren't getting information from the outside and bringing it back in and being like, well, how does this work for us?
I see.
So, yeah.
But then it does come back to, you have to make sure your marriage, your relationship is squared and you're able to focus more on your business.
Like when I'm happy with our marriage, I'm like firing.
You're
on
more
all
motivated.
cylinders. I'm very like I'm on it, and I don't care if I have like, oh, this hurts or whatever. I'm just like, this is for the mission. But if I have arrows in my heart, I'll be like, fuck you. I'll still do it, but it doesn't feel as good, or like, the energy, and then we'll slowly start to eat away at what you've built. And you can maybe let it go for a couple of days, but then maybe a couple of years go by and you're like, okay.
How about for yourself, Bryan?
For myself? For that question? Let me see. So the question was, what role apart from your lead photographers is critical in growing your business further? So aside from lead photographers, I would say almost every role is important. Every role is crucial. I think, if you want to move forward as a business, everyone's got to be, like you guys said, comfortable. Everyone's got to be willing.
Yeah.
It reminds me of the movie 300. All those soldiers were in sync. They moved as a unit, as one, and they, they went out there and kicked ass, right?
You didn't have that weird little toad one who's the weak link. He couldn't raise his shield.
Right. I remember when they met
Get out.
Get out of here. Remember when they met the other team?
Yeah.
And he was like, you only have 300? And he's like, well, what do you do? He's like, I'm a carpenter. What do you do? I'm a mechanic or whatever. He's like, I have more soldiers than you.
Yeah.
And he only has 300, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, it doesn't matter. It's how many employees you have, or as long as they're tight.
It's the right ones.
Right, and the ones they fit, and they all move,
efficiently.
Together.
Yeah.
From the top to you guys, the captains, to the bottom,
Yeah.
wherever the bottom is.
It's not even bottom.
It's just
here's my arm, here's your arm. Let's go.
KLV is just KLV, right?
Yeah.
It's just one thing, right?
Yeah.
So
that's the mentality that we want to that we had to change too, and then that everybody else understands.
Yeah. It's it's a team that wins the championship, right? So that's how I see it.
Yeah. Exactly.
And everyone gets to enjoy it. The coach, the GM, the players, the MVP. It's everyone.
I want rings.
I want a championship.
I want the rings. Everybody get rings.
Yeah. And then other than that, I think we have one more viewer question.
Okay, cool.
To wrap things up here.
And we'll do a giveaway.
Oh, yeah. You want to announce giveaways and whatnot?
Yeah.
After this.
We'll do the giveaway after. Okay. So next question. What is one of the most valuable attributes that you've gained since the birth of the KLV team?
Patience. Yeah.
Patience.
Patience.
Definitely.
Wait a second.
Patience. Yeah.
Yeah, patience always gets you when you're growing, right?
Yes.
Sometimes you can work so fast thinking that you're going to get the results right away, but it never happens. It happens when you're patient and your consistency comes out.
Yes.
So, and it's the same thing I taught you, even though it's been 2 months. It was like us going through over the same things, even like that same table although you were probably bored shooting Megan inside the guest room many times, it was just getting that consistency down and being patient with yourself that, I have to find that formula. I have to find my patterns, and being patient with yourself and being patient with whoever's working alongside with you, then you guys will grow together. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say that's a good attribute.
Yeah. I think I've gained more, besides patience, yes, for sure. To add on to that would be confidence. Like that's changed immensely because there was a lot of like, I so want this team. I so want this culture. And then we didn't really know how to get there yet. So a lot of times it was a lot of experimentation or like, is this going to work? And then how you put out the message, how you attract, how you're looking for these people, right? And so you're like, okay, I will put this out here like this. Now I'm like, here it is.
Yeah.
You want it or not.
That's pretty much how the interview went.
And that's how I've changed. Yeah. I was like, this is who we are.
Yeah.
I'm going to expect this from you. Yeah. And then now, like with the language and everything, and I'm not afraid to say it because I believe in it, and I believe that if you will execute this way, you will be successful too. This is not just me going like just putting like all the like oh I'm crazy and I want to dictate you or whatever. It's like no, this is the track. I'm confident because we've done it before.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And you will be successful.
That's good. So you gained the confidence over time, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, I would say I gained the confidence in teaching you, taking what Megan has taught you, the basic foundations, to leveling you up to a certain degree, right? That's suitable for the first wedding with us, right? I could take you a lot further, but I didn't want to. I was like, I got to be patient there. I have to know myself that I don't want to burn Bryan,
Yeah.
Right. I've been there, I've seen it, and what it's done in the past. So I took myself down a notch to knowing that, really the clients will already appreciate the work that you put out, what you know already. The other levels are just basically just to make our company feel more solid. That's all it is. But the clients, all they expect are these certain amount of moments, right? They don't expect everything that we know. It's just our creative mindset, our artist mindset always wants more.
Got it.
Yeah.
Better.
Right.
Yeah. And we want more for you.
Right.
Like if you're bored as an artist, like I say, it's like death. You don't ever want to be bored.
Scary feeling.
Yeah.
Scary. Yeah. If you're bored, you're like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Starts to brew a lot of bad stuff.
Right. Okay. Yeah,
just
good answers, guys. I love that.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Do you want to talk about our giveaway here while I
Let's do
grab
Yeah, we
the
have
book here?
a
We have a giveaway. We'll be giving one book per week.
per week. Okay, cool.
Who's on that cover?
Should have just did the mask.
She's wearing
It's a
the
good
same
picture.
pants too right now.
Oh no, these are different
I'm
pants.
joking.
You
No, I
took
do
this
like
picture,
yellow.
right, Kevin?
Huh?
You took this picture.
No, John shot that one
Oh,
actually.
it's a
Jonathan
good,
did,
shout
yeah.
out to John. It's a
Yeah.
good picture.
No, he was a really good headshot photographer.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
learned all the lights, crazy stuff. Yep, you'll learn that too in a minute.
Okay. I look forward to it.
Yeah.
But do you want to talk about this giveaway here? What's in it?
Yeah, so I kind of forgot about it, but I wrote a book. And like a lot of the concepts in there, we still execute to this day. When I break down how I market or how I think about marketing and how I create content, which is not based on any something that you learned in school. This is all based on experience. This is something that's worked for us. So I think a lot of times when people are thinking about marketing, they're not really comprehending what it actually takes. But it doesn't have to be as hard as I'm kind of making it sound right now. So I tried to write a book where I broke down what my thinking process was, and hopefully it just gets your gears turning, lets you open up your mind to the resources that I always go to, and that you could just go and create content, And don't get married to the first piece of content that you make. You're going to evolve past that. So what's most important is the speed, because marketing is a daily thing. So just know you're always going to make something better tomorrow. You know,
Right.
don't get too attached. It's like, oh, I don't feel so good. You just put it out. Just put it out, you know?
Just put it out, be
Just put it
proud,
out.
and go with it, right?
Go with it, because you know you're going to change. So don't
Right.
get married right
Right.
now to this thing. Just be like, hey, I'm going to evolve, and I'm going to make something better next time, even if I'm not 100% happy with it.
Cool.
Yeah.
And can you tell them the name of this book here?
What's it called? Yeah. The Video Marketer's Cookbook. So I kind of think of a lot of things as ingredients, and that's the time when I was like really enjoying cooking. I don't cook anymore. Macro box, hell yeah. But I was like, cool. These are the main ingredients. You really only need to inspire or educate your audience. If you can do those things in your videos, inspire or educate or entertain, right? Then you'll have a good piece of content.
Awesome. So the Video Marketer's Cookbook, an Amazon #1 seller written by
It was. Not
Meg LaVue right here, right in front of us, the author.
Hopefully you can take something from it. We have a couple of books here that we can give away. Sort of forgot about them, so might as well use it for any of you guys that are interested.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
So how are we going to give it away, B?
I would say to the viewer, say we would have them do something. We'll have them do something.
Mhm.
Let's
Okay.
see.
He'll handle it.
we'll post
He'll-
something.
B will handle
Just
it.
be on the lookout. We'll be posting it on the Instagram, KLV Podcast, and we'll be showing you guys this and how to get it. Will you sign it for them?
Sure, I'll sign it.
We'll
yeah.
sign it.
I was thinking of like, oh, maybe we'll put little secret messages in there.
Secret message, additional messages.
Something current. Yeah,
Yeah.
something current, because obviously maybe some things might be outdated because I wrote this, I don't know when, maybe
Still applicable. I've read
Yeah.
a few pages of
The
this.
concept is still the same.
Yeah.
Definitely. I still use this stuff till today. So it's not like I'm speaking out of my butt or something. But
for you guys right here.
yeah.
All
So
right, be
we
on the
got a
lookout
couple,
for
right?
that.
Like, yeah, we
Yeah,
got
we
a
have
couple.
a couple.
Our goal is to give away all these by the end of the year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Cool.
Sounds good.
All right.
Be on the lookout, and thank you guys for listening.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Next time. Thank you for listening to the KLV Podcast. Learn more about us at kevinlavueweddings.com or on Instagram at kevinlavue at KLV Podcast. You can rate and review us on iTunes and watch us on YouTube. Join us next time sharing more of our experiences and lessons.